Noaker. That's P-A-T-R-I-C-K. Noaker, N-O-A-K-E-R. I'm an attorney with the Jeff Anderson Law Firm here in St. Paul. This morning we're here to announce the filing of a new lawsuit against Cretin Durham Hall, as well as the Christian Brothers in Minnesota. To my left is Bob Swiderski. He's with the organization called SNAP, or the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Greece. And to my right is John Purdy. He also is a current plaintiff in a lawsuit against the perpetrator, in this case, Brother Raimond Rose. Today's lawsuit is a lawsuit for fraud against Cretin Durham Hall and the Christian Brothers of the Midwest province. And the case involves the fact that the Christian Brothers were aware that Brother Rose was a sexual predator. Without telling any parents and without telling any students at all, they put him in an assignment at Cretin Durham Hall where he had unsupervised access to children and boys. And as a result, Brother Raimond sexually abused my client here today, who's designated as John Doe 129. The sexual abuse occurred out at the Dunroven Retreat Center, which is located on the St. Croix River. The abuse occurred right around 1973, while this boy was right around 16 or 17 years old. Brother Raimond fed alcohol to all the boys there, and then was able to isolate this boy, who's the plaintiff here, and sexually abuse him. The Christian Brothers are an international entity, but they have their regional headquarters down in Chicago, Illinois. The Christian Brothers Midwest province have 31 communities, which is where the brothers reside. They also have 3 universities and 17 high schools, including Cretin Durham Hall, and 3 retreat houses, which also includes the Dunroven Retreat Center. So this is a very large, the Christian Brothers are a very large organization.
I am the State Director, Minnesota Director for an organization called SNAP, which is Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests. Over the last 2 months, ever since I first met John Purdy, I have been contacted by numerous individuals that have or know of sexual abuse by Raimond Rose. That includes De La Salle High School in Minneapolis, Cretin High School in St. Paul, Archbishop Brady in West St. Paul. I have been contacted by individuals from Shanley High School in Fargo, North Dakota, where Raimond Rose taught from 1977 to 1981. Took 4 boys into Canada, supplied them with alcohol and drugs, and sexually abused at least one of the boys on that journey. I've also been in contact with an individual from De La Salle Academy in New York City who had Raimond Rose as a teacher in 1993-94. And then of course we are familiar with the documented lawsuits that were filed in California, specifically De La Salle, Concord, California. Now, I've also been in contact with somebody that went to Hill Murray. That brave individual approached the Pioneer Press after our last activity, identified himself by name, and the fact that he had been sexually abused by Raimond Rose. That gentleman happens to be a superintendent of schools. And we also listened to KQ, where one of Minnesota's iconic comics talked about his and some of his friends' sexual abuse encounter with Raimond Rose at Dunroven. As Pat had mentioned, if you attended a Christian Brother school, you had to attend a religious retreat at Dunroven to graduate. Raimond Rose has used Dunrobin as a facility to prey on teenage boys for his sexual gratification. We have a pattern here. His mode of operation seems to be get a group of boys together, give them as much alcohol and marijuana as he can. When they're most vulnerable, he goes after them sexually. If one fends him off, he just goes to the next. If the pattern continues to unfold, Raimond Rose could very well be the most prolific clergy sex offender in the history of Minnesota. 63 to 67 at De La Salle, 68 to 72 at Cretan, 73, 74 at Archbishop Brady. We have a 2-year time frame, 75, 76. We do not know where he was. Apparently from 77 to 81, he was at Shanley High School in Fargo. He shows up in Concord, California, which is a different Christian Brothers province. He was there for 2 years. They sent him back to Minnesota. Then he shows up 93, 94 in New York. So we have a gap of 84 to 93. Where was he? Now the map, this colored map that I handed out, just shows the Christian Brothers provinces in the United States. The blue is the Midwest, as Pat has identified in the lawsuit. The goldish color is California. The greenish color is New York. It is not like a diocesan restriction. Christian Brothers can pick them up and move them to any province they want. The prior there says, you betcha you got a good teacher, I'll take him. And in this case, they must have known, or they should have known, he's a serial sex offender. In addition to the facilities where Pat has legal action, we have De La Salle, Cretan, Brady, Hill Murray, Tortino Grace, where people, students, came in contact with this cleric. The other thing about Dunrobin, when that was established in 1956, it was consecrated during the groundbreaking by then Archbishop Binns. So when the Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis, say they are not involved with the Christian Brothers, why were they there dedicating Dunrobin? And if you go back in history, the Christian Brother religious order cannot come into this archdiocese without permission from the Archbishop. They cannot teach in the Catholic schools without permission. Now what SNAP is going to be doing is also we're sending a letter to the chair of the National Review Board. We want them to follow their own process and procedures and get these Catholic schools to start helping us reach out to those that have been sexually abused by this Christian brother and others.